The HHA is a family. Our family begins with the students at our school. It extends to our staff, to our parents, to those that have founded our history, to those that volunteer and give of themselves on a day-to-day basis. And it's a celebration of a community, which is called Hamilton.
I feel part of a big thing here, part of a great thing where we're building something very special.
It really is people that make the difference.
It's a real blessing and a real privilege to be part of this rich, unfolding story.
Whatever you see as classic Judaism that was planted here in this community begins with the loyalty and commitment of that first generation.
Mr. and Mrs. Louis Fuss were such a family that were literally builders of the Hamilton Hebrew Academy. Builders in terms of brick and mortar, but also builders in terms of giving their grandchildren to this institution during its earliest days.
My dad came over from Poland in 1929, brought my mother over a few months later, and they were married here in Hamilton. He was friendly with Max Hoffman and Rabbi Mordecai Green, and when the talk came up about building of the Hamilton Hebrew Academy, he agreed to undertake the project.
When I think about Irwin and Sandy Fuss, I think about two individuals whose hearts are so large, who have given so much for their family, but equally as important, have given so much to this community.
I feel very strongly that our children are Jews, and it's very important to know what it means to be a Jew.
My mom was there on school trips and in supply teaching now and then, and my dad was a B'nai B'rith chair, and both parents have been UJA chairs, and my mom's been involved with State of Israel bonds and the sisterhood. So it's really incredible to see how their level of contribution and giving back and how they've carried on those values.
My grandparents, my parents, the HHA, the Addis, it's just such a huge part of me and how I grew up.
We were always together on holidays. We were always a family. It was just a fact that we were all going to be together.
I've really tried to instill those values and traditions with my children.
Because it means the world to them that, all 8 of their grandchildren, so my siblings' children and my own, are either attending or have attended or will be attending Jewish day school as well.
It's important that children have a solid foundation in their Jewish heritage.
It's just part of who we are. We're part of the community. I've been in this community for over 50 years.
As long as I can remember, they've always been involved, and so I think this is a great honor and a really well-deserved honor.
Brian and Nancy Summer are a couple that not only inspire people by their actions, but inspire people by who they are. They built a home here in this community that has shared the warmth of what it means to be a Jew on so many different levels.
The first year we were here, it was a pretty miserable winter, and I was on the phone with Nancy telling her that I couldn't take Elisheva to her play group because it was snowing and it was wintry, and my husband had the car. And within 5 minutes later, there was a knock on my door, and it was Brian.
If anybody needs them, then they'll be there for them.
I'll never forget the times that Nancy was kind enough to invite me to her house when I was a single student here in Hamilton. And many of us would want to be invited to Nancy's house because she actually had one of the best meals in town.
Even though my mother was very busy, she was a real estate agent, she had all these side jobs, she did everything. She was like a master of everything. She always had time.
Nancy and Brian were wonderfully supportive parents. They were such a pleasure to speak with and to work with creatively and enhancing their daughter's education. And I saw them as true supporters of the Hamilton Hebrew Academy and parents who really loved our school.
They were always there. If there was an event, there wasn't a question of if we were going, it was we were going, and they were going to be there alongside of us.
I was going to see a client in St. Catharines, and I asked Bradley to come, and we were driving along the highway.
We were driving past a fancy sports car and I made the comment of something like, "Dad, why can't we get a car like that?" And he answered back, "Well, we're spending a large amount on your Jewish education, and if you go to public school, then we could afford something like that."
The next morning, he wakes up, he comes downstairs, and he said, "Dad, I've decided to go to the public school."
All of a sudden, we got a phone call from Rabbi Green, Mordecai Green, and we got a phone call from Nachum Spinner.
Nancy and I looked at each other and we said, "We've made a mistake. We've got to reverse."
The next morning, I was back in the academy, and that was really the beginning of their commitment and involvement in the Jewish community in Hamilton, and probably changed the course of my life, the life of my family, and the life of their family forever.
I went to Talmud Torah. It was a joke, and these kids, this isn't a joke to them. This is part of their life.
I'm very fortunate to be able to teach Brian and Nancy's grandchildren. They're passionate, they're inspired, they're very focused, and they value Judaism.
Well, you just have to look at their children and their grandchildren to see how important it was to them. I mean, our kids become who they are because of the example that we set for them, and certainly they set only the highest example for their kids.
You can't get more devotion from anybody.
I feel like I've really accomplished what I set out to accomplish in terms of bringing my children up and teaching them the values that I started out wanting them to have. I'm very proud of each and every one of them.
When I think about Racheli Chaimovitz, I think about a person that not only has supreme dedication for a sense of community, but a fidelity towards the Jewish education and development of her children.
Well, we're an Israeli family that moved to Canada in 1961. My dad, my mom, and 4 sons. My youngest brother I think he was in the second year the HHA was in existence.
I grew up in Hamilton, went to the academy for 11 years. I went to university here, and now I live here with my husband and my kids go to the Hamilton Hebrew Academy.
Racheli was in one of my grade 4 classes in general studies, and now we see a generation later, her children are here at the school, and she has taken on a wonderfully active role in the school now as a parent, and she brings to that role that wonderful initiative and enthusiasm and energy that I remember so well from when she was a little girl.
I have 3 kids, one in grade 1, one in JK, and one in the baby room, and now that they're here, I feel like I want to be more involved.
My mommy is very smart. She used to go to the school and she tells me all about how fun it was to be in the school.
I'm very proud of Racheli. I always was proud of her. This is something that's instilled in her. She loves doing it. She's doing it from all her heart.
Whatever there is, Racheli's always there to lend a helping hand.
I value her as a professional. I think she's a great parent and definitely a strong educator and a wonderful friend.
7 years ago, when I started at the HHA, it was really something else because I had worked in a law office for 30 years, and then when I decided to retire, I needed to do something, and being that I always wanted to be a school teacher, I decided that I would volunteer at the Hamilton Hebrew Academy.
When you look at Flora and you see her sitting with children, you not only see the sparks in her eyes, but you see the sparks that she places into the eyes of the kids that she's with.
She loves being here with our kids. She loves working with our kids, learning with our kids, and learning from our kids.
Flora was one of the first people I met when I came here. She loves the kids. She works with them in any capacity they need support, and is certainly there for teachers.
I love working with the students. Each and every student is different.
She's really a member of the staff. We see her that way, and so do the kids.
When we come to shul on a Saturday morning, there's nothing that makes me as a husband happier than seeing the kids come up to her and hug her and kiss her.
You truly are worth your weight in gold, and I couldn't have asked for a more
positive, kind, and trustworthy individual in my classrooms.
If it's Tuesday or Thursday, we are looking for Flora to come through the door of the school. Flora has been a tremendous asset to our classrooms, to individual students, to teachers over the past 7 years.
Flora Rance has been a gift to the Hamilton Hebrew Academy. She has redefined what it means to be a volunteer. She not only gives of her time, she gives of her heart, she gives of her soul, and she touches the lives of these children in such profound ways. The Hamilton Hebrew Academy is so privileged to be able to have Flora as part of our family, but not only that, having Flora make us part of hers.
The Academy really instilled some really important roots that are with me today, and it was this little oasis of Judaism.
It's less the experiences that I remember from being at the Hamilton Hebrew Academy and more the lessons that I learned. When I had children and had to choose schools for them, it wasn't a question of if they would go to Jewish school, it was really a question of which Jewish school they would go to, and it was because of the foundation that the Hamilton Hebrew Academy gave me, and it's the same foundation I want to give them.
I'll never trade what I learned here for anything.
This may be a fact that I don't know how many people know through at the Hamilton Hebrew Academy now or the Adas Israel, that this logo that you still show today, my close dear friend Bonnie Matchin and I in grade 8 were part of a yearbook committee and were instrumental in designing this logo. So I'm proud that it's still here and still active because we've left our mark.
We need to support the school even more than the school needs our support.
The HHA truly is a beautiful place. I love coming here every single day. I love seeing our kids, our students every day walk in through the doors with a smile on their face, excited about what they're about to learn, what they're about to see.
I'm really proud to be part of this rich and evolving history here at the Hamilton Hebrew Academy. There's two ways to relate to the past. There's living in the past and there's living with the past. I think here at the Academy, we're living with the past. We're all honored to be part of that evolving story. I'm now part of the HHA story, and that's something really exciting and really special.
The future for Am Yisrael, for the Jewish community in Hamilton, is great.